I'll be on camera a lot telling you what they're talking about because again, I told you I have a bad feeling about them. So they're now trying to convince me that I looked at a music video, and a lot of music videos now have, a lot of like not nudity, but like semi nudity and a lot of sexual things. But it doesn't take away from the song, and that's part of what I'm saying. Something went wrong when radio, and I talked to people about this a while ago. When radio went from just being radio to video, it meant that people who they didn't record people didn't think we would be interested in seeing weren't getting the same type of contracts as people who they thought we would find more attractive. So that meant really talented people who didn't have a look weren't getting the record opportunities. And that meant that they had to do things a different way to get us to actually hear their work. Now it's going in the reverse, where people who have the look but have videos that are really kind of out there, these types of people would say, well, you can't like that music. It's the same principle. It's a principle of these types of people not wanting people to have freedom to do what they want to do. I like music. I love music. And if the video is a little out there, I don't really care as long as the music is good, because it worked the same way. I'm old enough to remember a time when we went from having just radio artists to having video artists and how it changed things. So I'm not going to do to the video artists what they did to the recording artists. So I like the idea that we have a world now where people can be talented, even if they don't have the look the record people want. We can still find them and say, I don't care how you look, you sound good. And the reverse, I don't care what you put in your video, you sound good. So it's more about the music and not the videos or whatever the record company wants. And I think that's a big deal. But the thing is that they don't want people to have the freedom to like what they like. I like what I like. I'm not going to listen to these people. We're going to constantly fight. And that's how I'm just going to live my life. So they're like, well, we don't want to look bad because we disabled you and now we look like we're bullying a disabled person. The first part's the most important part. You disabled me. You're trying to make me hear or see things that I didn't hear or see. And as long as they say, well, we can live with it because we hate you anyway. But as long as you can live you with it because you hate me anyway and everyone knowing, fine. Oh, they don't want to live with that part. You see what I mean? They're sneaky people. And I'm going to call the sneaky people. So they spent all these years trying to catch me on a hot mic, never caught me doing anything wrong, tried to apologize for it, but kept doing the same thing. So now I'm going to keep doing the videos where I let you hear the sounds. There's no way I would not have known they were doing this. And I will use as a thumbnail for this video a screenshot of when I said in the date, I'm going to make sure I can smoke these people out and catch them. And finally I did. So the other thing that we're talking about, which I think is a big deal, is that they said these tricks don't work on a 50-year-old Black person, not originally from America. Meaning we're all different. We could be the same race with different ethnicities. And that certain things can work on different people, which is going back to what they were talking to me before about head shapes and face shapes and things. So they're very offended that I said that my ex-boyfriend has a look like he's Jewish and he seems Jewish. Meaning the very thing that they're saying, they're upset by. They want to say Black people, we have different looks because we come from different places, but not that white people have different looks. Well, you can tell like somebody who comes from a certain place, like, oh, you look like you're from so and so, and the person's like, yeah, I'm from that place, and it's not a big deal. Why is it? Like I said, there's a constant thing where it seems that if you say something about someone who's Jewish, you get attacked, and yet they've said things to me all the time, and I feel like that's part of what I'm trying to stop. The idea that I can interact with a Jewish person, no big deal. I had a Jewish man. I'm going to give you an example. When I was in the boutique, I had a Jewish man come in. I didn't know he was Jewish. I said, hi, he was a customer. He said, you went to Fordham. Never said anything to him about being from Fordham, which is what I'm saying. They've been stalking me, and I don't know why. He said, you went to Fordham. The reason I care, he said, so much about Fordham is because Fordham let Jewish people attend when other schools didn't. And I said, oh, that's so great. I'm happy to hear that. So the point being, he identified himself as a Jewish person. He identified without me telling that I went to Fordham, so he knew me and he found me where I was. And he went on to talk about being Jewish. Now, in this story, you can tell I'm not the person who's identifying him as being Jewish. I obviously didn't know him, and I don't know how he knew me. And I asked at the time something along the lines of that. But again, this is my point. There seems to be something with this group and me. And I don't want to be a part of any group that will stalk me. It's not flattering. It's not complimentary. It's dangerous. And also, it's dangerous that if I start to say that this is a Jewish group that keeps stalking me everywhere I go, that I get called an anti Semite, the least anti Semitic. But also the fact that he could say that as a Jewish person, meaning why is it offensive that I said my ex-boyfriend looked Jewish and he seemed very Jewish? Yet he didn't identify as Jewish, but now it seems like he may. Yet at the same time, this man approaches me, a black person, and says how he was treated as a Jewish person. So meaning we got two different conflicting ways of dealing with identity. And this is about identity. If you can identify yourself as a Jewish person to me, and then if something happens, I can't identify you as a Jewish person, then why is that? The other big deal about that is, so going back to their need to identify people based on appearances, if we are going to teach me how to tell different groups of people from one another, and then all of a sudden say I'm against that group because that group identified itself to me, then we're dealing with two different standards. And I keep going back to this. We can't have two different standards in America. We're free to say what we want as long as it's not protected speech, as long as it's not hate speech. So you can't yell fire in a theater. You can't say something discriminatory that is against another group in that way. But you can identify people based on their identity, especially after they identify themselves as that. And everyone I'm mentioning out here did identify themselves as being Jewish. So all of a sudden now that's against the rules? No. Like I said, I worked with a man from Lacoste who identified himself as being affiliated with Israel. I've had other people walk in and identify themselves as being affiliated with Israel. So there is not me, and this is, they just say, oh, yeah, oh. It's not me saying it, it's proving it. I've shown you the thumbnails. And part of what I'm saying is that I don't understand why they thought they can take away my freedoms. I have freedom of everything, just like every American. We have freedom of speech. We have freedom of religion, freedom of where we live. If you discriminate against me because I live here and you're harassing me to move because you said I don't fit in anymore, that's against my freedom. So we have all of these freedoms I got by being born here. The other big deal about this is going back to identifying the features and why they're upset that my nose won't flatten completely. This is me pressing my nose. Why won't it flatten completely? Because there's something here. You see that? There's something there. And why that matters, you can tell. Why that matters is because it's how you identify me. They were talking about switching me out for someone else, and they said they let someone work in the boutique who resembled me. Looks nothing like me. That's again racist. Looks nothing like me. But it's the idea that they feel like if they can get someone who resembles me, then they can pass that person off as me. That's, again, against my freedom. That's another crime. The other big deal about that, and they're upset by this because it tells you the thought process. I thought I was going there to get a job, work hard, make the numbers, which I did. I did those things. I didn't think I was going to have, for the rest of my life, people stalking me and harassing me. I graduated from Fordham in 1995. That's 29 years ago. I should have no affiliation with Fordham at this point. It's not something that you stay affiliated with once you graduate from school. You graduate. That's the reason we call it graduation. Could you imagine if I just kept showing up? They would say, listen, you graduated in 1995. Move on with your life. And every time I try to, this group seems to want to pull me back into it. The other big deal about this is, as I'm trying to go over everything, I say, oh, going back to the music. So they keep now, if I listen to a particular artist, now, first of all, everybody who knows me knows I always love this particular rapper. To me, he's more than just a rapper. Like he's an artist. Like, you know, he's an artist. Like, really, I just think just everything he does is artistically beautiful. And so they were like, oh, you like him because he's West Indian. Well, that too. I'm allowed. I'm of West Indian descent. I can like someone who's West Indian, but I also like him because he's an artist. So they're like, well, he won't like what you're saying. Do they think I'm nuts? Do they think I'm mentally ill? I I think an artist like on his level doesn't care if I like this like that, or I feel this way, I feel like that. That's what they were trying to do to me on this YouTube channel. Try and make it seem like I had to be specially nice to stalkers or people who I don't agree with. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not an artist. I'm just a victim of targeting. That is a different relationship. They wanted to change my relationship with you guys, and I've been on your channels. I've communicated with you. I would never ask you guys to treat me like I'm a fan. That's different. A fan is different from somebody who watches your videos. And they want me to kind of treat people like fans so that I can be, become more of a victim. I'm not doing it. I'm a 50-year-old sick woman, and yes, I can use that word now. I'm sick. So they said, "Oh, I was hiding it." No, I haven't been. The other big deal about that is it goes to show who they are, that they expect someone to get someone sick and expect the sick person to, they said the word just now, cater to them. But it's worse than catering. It's expecting to be able to take advantage of people when they're at their lowest point. And that's what I'm saying. There's a group out there who feels that if they can get you at your lowest point, that's going to make them able to have power and control over you. And I didn't get to this point before 2016. Thank you for watching.